Featuring in sports tonight, Sunday, February 20, Kieran Perkins, racing machine, right on target for Commonwealth Games glory. Steve Monaghetti tests a new Cinders track, going for coal. Greg Norman, the world's highest paid duffer.
This is a track bound, and it's in the track.
And Kathy Watt, Tour de Femme, fantastic and fast. Good evening, I'm Bill Woods, and heading sports tonight, a faultless final round of 5 under the card at Huntingdale sees Craig Parry add another gold Australian Masters jacket to his trophy collection. Parry finished 3 shots clear of the field.
Huntingdale provided magnificent conditions for the final day battle of the stars, but it was Terry Gale who stole the early thunder, acing the 3rd hole. Mike Clayton also got into the act with this marvellous eagle at 6.
Clayton's been in good form, and look at this. Oh yeah!
But the real contest was to come, and it was Mike Harwood making the early running, getting it quickly to 5 under. After his brilliant round yesterday, Greg Norman was attracting an enormous gallery, but also plenty of trouble. The huge number of followers was causing problems for Norman and caddy Tony Navarro. The Shark had to rely on making tough putts. Beginning at 7 under, overnight leader Ernie Els was much happier with the spectators after receiving some assistance in reaching the first green. Els was soon joined at the front by Craig Parry, who looked in dangerously good touch. From left field came American Peter Teravainen with 3 birdies and this eagle in 5 holes to join the lead. Norman's day effectively ended at the 8th. An uncharacteristic mistake led to a double bogey and a huge confidence dent. The others began to fall away, but Els was still playing consistently in an enthralling duel with Parry. The Australian was more than up to the task, an eagle on the 10th taking him to 10 under and the outright lead. And when Els missed his putt for par on the 12th, the margin had slipped to 3. Peter Senior shot a great final round of 68 to finish 6 under, level with Teravainen in 3rd place. But there was no doubt about who was to wear the yellow jacket, Parry coming to the final hole with a 2-shot lead. With Els in trouble, Parry strode confidently to the 18th green and made no mistake. Parry becoming the only man apart from Norman to capture the Masters on more than one occasion.
Terrific stuff. Good on you, Popeye. Well, still on the circuit, wouldn't you like to have your own golf tournament? You'd get on, no trouble. Greg Norman's got one, Nicholas has one, but Bob Hope's probably the only non-professional golfer in the world to have a decent tournament named after him. It's the Bob Hope Classic, of course, and even now in his 80s, he still plays. Along with a few other showbiz legends like Andy Williams, who added a few bunkers to the course. Here's the man now, looking every bit as healthy as his putt, except it won't drop. Now, wait a minute. Hey, that's my kind of caddy. He's the only guy on the course older than Bob, too. This fella, well, he needs no help at all. John Houston, great approach to set up birdie and go 20 under. Believe it or not, not good enough. Scott Hoke, this fella, without a tournament win in 5 years on the circuit, is 24 under. Scott, this has got to be it. Cricket now, in a magnificent century by Hansi Cronje steered South Africa to victory this morning in the first one-dayer against Australia in Johannesburg. Cronje scored 112 in his side's 3 for 232. In reply, the Aussies finished 5 runs short.
5,500 feet above sea level on a ground nicknamed the Bullring. The Aussies found little support. Winning the toss, South Africa started strongly. A 39-run opening stand broken by Paul Rifle in the 11th over.
And he's gone.
Gary Kirsten out for 12. His replacement, Hansi Cronje, free from the pressures of captaincy. After Peter Kirsten's exit for 47, Cronje and Jonty Rhodes blunted the Aussie attack in a 106-run partnership.
Done it again. 11 stroke.
Cronje fell in the final over, the century placing South Africa in a strong position. But Australia's top order revelled in the chase. Taylor's departure for 30 seemed only a slight stumble as David Boone and Dean Jones maintained the tempo.
Beautifully played by Dean Jones.
But brilliant fielding launched the turnaround.
That's well fielded. Got him! Beautiful catch!
Boone gone for 58. Mark Waugh and Jones the next victims. Australia struggling at 4 for 155 in the 38th over.
Big breakthrough for Eric Simons.
Needing more than 6 and over, the Aussies couldn't overcome the tight bowling. South Africa won up in the series. And the second match is underway at Centurion Park in Pretoria. South Africa winning the toss and batting.
Kirsten getting that one away off his toes. Gary Kirsten, the left-hander, whipping that one
The
away.
Kirstens again setting the foundations for a middle-order onslaught.
Placement and timing again.
And what an onslaught it's been. South Africa finishing at 5 for 265. Cronje just run out 3 short of another century. Adrian Caper smashing 47 off only 22 balls, including 26 of Craig McDermott's final over. I kid you not. Australia is 1 for 11 in the 5th, with a lot of work to do yet. Well, anything short of a victory in today's one-dayer against New South Wales would have ousted South Australia from the Mercantile Mutual Cup. The Crow Eaters went in underdogs and turned on a thriller that went right down to the wire.
Martin Hayward impressive on debut, hitting hard for 21 before falling to a Wigney delivery.
And that is that.
Michael Bevan took over, playing every stroke in the book, settling into a productive partnership with Richard Cheekwee. Bevan failed to consolidate with Trevor Bayliss and went 2 overs later for 38.
And takes the catch.
After the strong start, the middle order lost its way.
That's out.
The 13 overs to go, Brad McNamara belting them.
Hammer that again, right?
Shane Lee had been hammering away too, 44 until a Wigney Yorker caught him LBW. McNamara next for 29.
I know, he does it.
Warwick Adlam 3 for 3.
Got him.
Next, Blewett got Maxwell.
It's gone, surely. It's got to be. Still running. That is
The Blues finished there 58 for 225. Rain made it a 45-over game. South Australia now needing 217 and on fire. And another from Darren Lehman.
There's gone again. This could go all the way. 6 more.
Brad McNamara ensured he didn't get another chance.
McNamara aiming for the
Out for 40, Phil Alley farewelled opening partner Nobes for 22.
bowlers and bowled him.
Captain Jamie Siddons and Greg Blewett settled down to a solid and sensible partnership. Lee ended it at 93, bowling Siddons for 37.
Really believe that.
Brayshaw came and went for 2.
That is a magnificent catch.
3 more went before the last over, South Australia needing 5 for the upset victory. And they got it.
And that's it.
Well done, and the Shield match between Tasmania and Victoria has ended in a thrilling draw at the MCG. The visitors just 1 wicket away from outright victory. Tassie set the Vics 327 to win, but their chances of reaching the target disappeared with the loss of Hodge for 72. Darren Berry played some punishing shots while holding up the Islanders' push for valuable points. But when Berry was caught for 28, Tassie needed just 2 wickets. Craig Howard was trapped in front with just 4 overs remaining, but Fleming and Cook staved off defeat. Now the Shield table, New South Wales just a game away from hosting the final. As for their opposition, plenty. 4 states in with a chance, and you still can't rule out Victoria. Still ahead in sports tonight, the Tooheys Challenge quarterfinals, Sunday soccer, and Wales very determined to end their 12-year losing streak against the French. Rugby League now. Souths and Balmain will meet in the semi-finals of the Tooheys Challenge. Both scored tight wins in today's quarters.
The centre of the rich farming Riverina, Narandra's population growing by 1,000 as the locals down tools for a day of rugby league. Unfortunately, South decided to stand and watch as well.
Coin and Telus gets a try.
St George's pre-season form as slick as last year's final series. The Dragons set moves and support play too much for South's defence.
Gallops down the ground. Tony Smith comes up.
South's big forward struggled for direction, but it finally came from the smallest rabbit on the field.
He does. Trindle goes straight through.
St George regained control, a penalty and field goal giving them a 15-8 lead. Off-season recruit Mark McGaw tried to startle the Rabbits into action. But it was the St George medical staff having to lift their work rate. Mackay, Barnhill, Coyne and Gourlay all injured, and South's confidence began to lift. The field goal making it 15-9 at the break. South shook off their first half lethargy, getting within 2 soon after.
Miller infield. Miller slams it down.
The Dragons' composure returned, but for the second time, a try disallowed. 3 minutes from the bell, looking to land the final blow, St George threw the game away.
That South have been waiting for. Down the left flank goes David Penner. South Sydney are going to score.
South sneaking home 17-15. East began the last quarter-final with plenty of possession, but couldn't convert it into points. Surviving the early onslaught, Balmain finally got its chance, and Benny Elias made the most of it.
He's got a man inside, Benny Elias.
The Roosters were in shock, and Balmain took advantage, Nathan Wood crossing twice for a 16-0 half-time lead. And when Tim Brasher strolled through the uncommitted East defence, the match was all but over at 22-0.
And Balmain get their fourth try.
East, though, sprang to life. 2 tries before three-quarter time, 1 straight after, cutting the gap to just 4.
Where it goes in to score.
But a try right on the bell sealed Balmain's semi-final spot, 32-22.
Rugby union, and just 4 months after hitting its lowest ebb, Wales is on the verge of an incredible Grand Slam victory in the Five Nations Championship. The Welsh remain unbeaten after upsetting the French.
It had been 12 years since Wales had tasted victory against the flamboyant Frenchmen. In front of their home crowd, the Welsh were determined to wipe the slate clean. Young number 8 Scott Quinnell leading the charge. His bullocking runs would torment the French time and again. So too the boot of Neil Jenkins. 3-0. After 10 minutes, though, it was level. Thierry Lacroix with his only penalty of the game. 5 minutes later, Quinnell charged again. This time he broke through.
But Quinnell picks up and breaks off. Scott Quinnell tries to get the feed inside, and he could get there himself. He goes and gets
a try in his 4th international. Wales led 11-3 at the break. As Jenkins kicked the Welsh further ahead in the second stanza, the French scrambled, and it worked.
No, mismove. Sellars under the posts.
17-15. It was left to former Olympic hurdler Nigel Walker, who faced no obstacles on his way to the winning try.
Nigel Walker all the way. Wales triumphant.
England took a 6-year unbeaten record to Twickenham, but that crown would slip against the Irish, who attacked early without success. Jonathan Callard landed 2 penalties to put the English ahead 6-3, but in the 37th minute, the Irish backline worked the ball wide to Simon Gagan.
Gagan could score. He's going to make it. It's a try for Gagan.
10-6 at the break. A lacklustre England was forced to rely on Callard for all its points. They weren't enough to stop Ireland winning at Twickenham for the first time in 12 years.
Now to Sunday soccer. Results in the English, Scottish and French First Divisions. Here's Colin Turner.
Lee Chapman ended Kidderminster Harriers' joint killing run in the English FA Cup when he scored the only goal of the game that puts West Ham into the quarter-finals. Chelsea beat Oxford 2-1, even though Oxford missed a penalty towards the end. In the league, Blackburn Rovers narrowed the gap on leaders Manchester United to 7 points, thanks to a 1-0 win over Newcastle United. David Mays scored the all-important goal. Leeds United beat Liverpool 2-0. Everton fought back to draw 1-1 with Arsenal, and Coventry hit 4 against Manchester City, and Norwich City drew 3-3 with Swindon. In Scotland, Ali McCoy celebrated his return from injury with a hat-trick for Rangers as they beat second division side Alloa 6-0 in the 4th round of the Scottish Cup. The Scottish international came back after injury. Aberdeen, like Rangers, are still in with a chance of a league and cup double after a 1-0 win over Raith. In France, table-topping Paris Saint-Germain missed the chance to boost their French First Division title hopes when they were held to a goalless draw at home by Lyon.
Racing, and brilliant sprinter Scalacci today narrowly failed to create history at Flemington. The Grey Flash just beaten by outstanding 3-year-old Keltreese in the Lightning Stakes, a race Scalacci had captured for the past 2 years.
For the second day in a row, headquarters was blessed with a delightful day, and consequently a good-sized crowd was there for the afternoon's proceedings. And most eyes at Flemington today were on the Grey Flash Scalacci, attempting to become the first horse in history to win the Lightning Stakes in 3 consecutive years. Bookmakers were prepared to let punters on, but the 5-year-old would run favourite. The main dangers considered to be 2 3-year-olds, Keltreese and the John Sadler-trained Ken Vane. And while that pair were up disputing the lead as the business end approached, Scalacci was going to have to come from behind to win a third Lightning on the trot. They're inside the 400. Ken Vane on the inside put his head in front of Classic Magic. Keltreese is going well. Daring Ombre to the outside. Scalacci called upon for his effort. Keltreese at the 200 going well, took the lead from Ken Vane. Here he comes, Scalacci. The Flash on the outside. He's wearing them down. Keltreese is just in front, though, of Scalacci, and Keltreese has won it. Keltreese by a head to the gallant Scalacci, and Ken Vane third. After a couple of narrow defeats at Group 1 level, it was a well-deserved victory for Keltreese and trainer Ian Harrison.
He hadn't been beaten first up. He goes particularly well here at Flemington. And I thought, well, he'd be up racing on the place where most of the more fancied horses would get back. And unfortunately, it worked out that way.
Jockey Damien Oliver said there were no excuses for Scalacci and that he'd planned all along to come from behind.
Because I didn't want to be the first one off the bit like he was in the William Reid. I wanted, them to chase the lead.